For the paper making process, you will need a deep container, a blender, scrap paper, a bucket, and any kind of add-ins you'd like to use. You will also need a decal, a support grid, and a green papermaking screen. In the Text and Context Lab, we have both dip decals and pour decals. The differences between these two will be discussed later on in the video. For the drying process, you will need a screen, a sponge, a press bar, couching sheets, and something to contain the dripping water. You can also use a book press or an iron to help expedite the process. You should use enough paper to be 1 inch wider and longer than the mold for each sheet of paper you'd like to make. We encourage you to use recycled materials from our scrap bin in the Text and Context Lab, but you are welcome to use any paper in the lab or to bring your own if you'd like. We recommend not using newsprint because it is an acidic paper and your final product will be more likely to fade over time. To make your paper stronger and more pliable, you can add cotton linter or abaca pulp to your mix. You can also add glitter or plants such as mint and lavender for scent, or dried flowers or leaves for texture. You should fill the blender with enough materials for 1 or 2 sheets of paper, and 2 cups of water per sheet material. Blend for 30 seconds. If you plan on making more than 2 pieces of paper with even color and consistency, you can use a bucket to make multiple batches and mix it all together. For the pouring method, you will use a larger mold and decal. Make sure that the papermaking screen is placed first on the bottom of the decal, then the support grid. You will need to strap both of those to the decal. You'll also need a tub of water that comes within 1/4 inch of the top of the decal and mold. Lower the frame into the water and pour your pulp into the mold. Spread the pulp evenly by moving your hand back and forth through the water. Lift the mold out of the water, holding it as level as possible, and set the mold down onto your tray. For dip molding, pour your pulp into a deep basin filled with water. Assemble your mold with the decal, the papermaking screen, then the grid. Agitate the pulp with your hands to distribute it in the water. Hold the hand mold vertically on the short side, with the decal facing you on the far side of the basin. Keeping the hand mold vertical, dip it into the pulp and slide the mold toward you along the bottom of the vat. With a smooth movement, lower the mold into the pulp until it rests flat on the bottom. After the pulp flows over the mold, lift it up, keeping it level. Let the water drain for 8 to 10 seconds, then tilt 45 degrees to drain more water. From here, the drying process is the same for both methods. Remove your papermaking screen and support grid from the decal. Place the gray cover screen over your paper and using a sponge, press out the water. Periodically wring your sponge out into the bucket. Peel off the gray cover screen and place a couching sheet over top. Then flip the screen and papers over and press a sponge all over the papermaking screen. Next, you can carefully and gently lift the papermaking screen and replace it with a couching sheet. Now use the press bar on top of the couching sheet and move it around until you press the entire sheet of paper. Remove the couching sheet on top and then slowly peel your piece of paper from the bottom of the other couching sheet. You can now place the sheets flat on a surface to let them air dry overnight. Put them on the book press for 2 20-minute intervals, placing dry kuching sheets in between each piece of paper in between each interval. Another option is to use an iron on high heat, placing one cloth on the table and another thin cloth over your sheet of paper. You can use your new custom paper for bookmaking and printmaking, or to make a fairy house. The possibilities are endless.